Welcome back to Barbecue Life, where great barbecue doesn't cost a fortune. Today we are cooking a 3.4 kilogram brisket from Meat Matters. This is an ex-dairy brisket, and it's probably the best brisket I've ever had. So there's not a lot of trimming to do. So we're just going to trim off some of the thicker pieces. The fat on this is really, really soft, much softer than I've ever had to deal with before. I don't know whether that is because it is the ex-dairy or because it had sat in the freezer for a few months before I used it. So I actually cooked this cook over a year ago now, and it's just taken me a while to get round to doing the video and sort of giving YouTube a little bit of a break. So we're not using any binder today, and we're going to go on with your chosen rub. I'm using my oomph powder, which unfortunately is now no longer available. I'm just going to get a nice coating of that all over the top side, flip it over, and then a little bit more trimming, some little hangy bits, and some little bits of silver skin just to remove. Once we've got that all nice and tidy, we can then go on that bottom side with our rubs. Just a nice even coating all the way over, making sure that everything is nicely covered and there's no little hangy bits of meat left. Covering all the ends over. Getting just a really nice coverage. Then we just top off that top half, just where it's stuck to the board. So we leave that off for about an hour, just while we're getting our Kamado up to temperature. So as you've seen before, I like to wrap my heat deflectors when I'm doing a low and slow cook in foil, and it just stops any of the fats from getting in there and makes cleaning up a lot easier. I've put some little 1/2 inch nuts on there, and then a drip pan underneath it. Again, I've covered that in foil just for easy cleanup, and we get our grill grates in. Temperature wise, we're going for sort of about 120 degrees today. So that's about one finger in the bottom vent, and the top vent on sort of just over half to maybe about 3/4 open. We get that brisket on directly over that drip pan, and we pop that on there, and we're just gonna, at the moment we're just getting it onto smoke, and we're looking at building our bark. So we're about 2.5 hours into this cook now, and we've got a nice bark on the outside, and we've come up to 72, and it's sat there for about half an hour and not moved. So I've decided to take it off and wrap it. So I've wrapped that off camera in butcher's paper, popped my temperature probe back in just so that we can still monitor them temperatures, and then it's come up to a nice temperature about 2.5 hours after that as well. So a total of 5 hours cook. Unwrap it, and we're just going to check for tenderness. So target temperature on this, I tend to go for about 98 degrees C. I find that that is about right, and we're just checking for tenderness. So you don't want it too soft, you want a little bit of bite back from that thermometer, but not too much. So kind of like peanut butter. If you was to drop it into peanut butter, then that would be about the right sort of temperature. So the most important thing that we can do now is rest it. So we just put that butcher's paper back on, and we wrap it in a bit of foil as well, and then that can go into a cool bag or wrapped in towels just for at least 2 hours, just to let things rest. And then we've given it that rest, and we're going to slice in. So nice bit of smoke ring around the outside, and still beautifully juicy. Give it a little squeeze. I don't want to waste too much of that juice, but you can just see it running nicely, and beautiful. So let's give it a slice. Let's get through that bark on the outside. And as you can see, that's still beautifully moist, that slice. It's got a bit of stretch to it, which is nice. It's probably the most tender brisket I've ever cooked. There's still much more room for improvement, but I think Meat Matters is the way to go. It's hot.
Oh, look at that juice.
That is the best one I've done so far, I reckon.